Welcome back to C-Vine International News Network. I'm Linda Forsythe.
I'm Leonard Bacani.
And we are back today from Washington, D.C., for where we had covered the military tribunals in Fort Meade. And we came back to an incredible amount of new people that have joined our Facebook group page that are just hungry
Welcome.
Absolutely. And so our group page has grown by leaps and bounds, and it's just wonderful because we've met so many fascinating people, and everybody is contributing information that they know. They're helping to share it. So this is the way it was meant to be, the way things are going. The reason we are doing this particular video is because when we came back, there were some things that was a little bit disconcerting. Now, where our videos, the two videos of the transcription and our synopsis of exactly what the transcripts had said, has been shared widely. It's gone viral. And that's a wonderful thing, except we are learning, because we are novices, is how quickly fake news can come out because of it. There's a lot of alternative media and all different types of individuals, trolls, etc., misquoting us, stating that we said something that, either one of us said something that we never said, stating that we have it posted on our webpage, that this is what's happening, and the rumors are just flying like crazy. People, we have been trying so hard to do our fact checking, to do our research, to do our investigations, and are very, very careful about what it is that we give to you. In fact, we might have been even a little bit too slow in coming out with some things last time because we were being so careful. We're still learning. But to come back and then find out that what we did put out there was misquoted, and putting us out there as something we're not was something, quite frankly, we're nipping in the bud. And we may have to experiment a little bit totally how to do that. But for the most part, we are going to be coming to you, we the people, to kind of brainstorm some of this. But also, Leonard and I have decided that we are going to be doing a GITMO Tribunal rumor squashing series. And we've got 4 of them that we are going to be doing. All the various different things that were asked from many people out there in the public, we are going to be covering that. The things that have been misquoted by for things that people are saying we said that we did not, we are clarifying. We are also going over a number of things that we have seen other alternative media put out there that is over the top. We are going to clarify that. And what we are going to do when we clarify it, we are going to give you verifiable source that we encourage you, we beg you to please take those sources and fact check it. We are not going to be ever put into a position of stating that we put out fake news. You are going to clarify everything that we do. So, moving forward here, if you go to our website, which is c-vine.com, cvine.com.
And that's c-vine.com.
You will see the first article that we wrote that is going to be in this series. And as soon as we get done with this particular video, we are going to attach it to that article. And that also is where you will be able to see all the other articles, the blogs that C-Vine has put out having to do with the military tribunals. On every single one of these rumor squashing series pages and videos that we do, we are going to be attaching the transcripts from January 28th and January 29th, 2019, the KSM et al. Transcripts for you to download. That's there on the original articles that explained it, also on every single one of these. In addition, we request we would love you to join our family on the Facebook group page, which is C-Vine International News Network. On there, that is where we discuss everything that we find, the fact-finding information that we have. We have conversations, we have debate. We are always respectful to one another, or we will get rid of you. We're not going to deal with it. We are going to discuss and come together to try and work through many of the things that are put out there so we know what's true, and we also investigate what has been put out there to be able to ultimately bring that information to you that we will be reporting. The other good news is, I don't know if it was because of frustration or whatever, but we've had a number of volunteers at film makers and etc. that are willing to film us and edit us and make it so you guys can hear us, and it's going to be much better that we're going to do. And some of them are actually in Washington, D.C. We are going again to Washington, D.C. in the middle of March to watch the next series of tribunals. And so I'm not going to repeat everything over that went on. Obviously, everyone knows that the tribunals only lasted a couple of days because the judge received an emergency that he had to be airlifted off of GITMO to stateside to have emergency surgery. And that is part of what we are going to be dealing with in our series here. But let me move forward and explain to you exactly what we're going to be doing. Now, when you go to c-vine.com, and you hit that first article in our, I want to make certain I have the title right, GITMO Tribunal Rumor Squashing Series from C-Vine, you will go to part 1 of 4. So that is, part 1 is the one we are dealing with today. And when you go to that, you can actually read a number of things that may not be in this video that we're doing here. And part of it is just a layout of the agenda of what we are going to be having the next 4 days. Now, today in part 1, what we are going to be discussing in just a few minutes is, in our rumor squashing series, the tribunal transcript, the PDFs are provided down at the bottom. And what it is called is who you can or can't trust in the news and when you need to use caution. There is a very significant reason that we are using this as the first one, and we will talk to you about that in just a few minutes. But that is part 1 here on what is going on in the media, who can you trust, and who can you run from, or who should you run from. Part 2 in our rumor squashing series, which is what we are going to be doing tomorrow. Every day is going to be a new one. We're going to be working through who made the decision to have the military tribunals covered by alternative media. I bet you guys would like to know the truth, and we are going to give you verifiable source for that. What military trials are being conducted at GITMO right now? There's quite a few of them, actually. It isn't just KSM et al. There are other ones. But it isn't what, for the most part, I'm seeing reported out there by other alternative media. So be careful what you listen to and what you believe. Now, the next part on that would be what military trials are being conducted at GITMO right now. We're going to go over that. How many total are incarcerated at GITMO as of this date? We are going to give you that number. What people, can people be incarcerated at GITMO without ever being charged? That's an interesting point. We are going to go over, again, verifiable source. And the last point, what we are going to be discussing tomorrow, what is coming? And that's the big question. We're going to be going over that and showing you where we got our information. Part 3, which is basically day 3, and what we're going to be doing, we're going to be going over what was the policy in previous years about open tribunals. Why the pretrial military tribunals with KSM et al. is of critical importance to watch closely. What does the law say now about military tribunals remaining open to the public? Discussion of President Trump's executive order amendment to the Manual for Courts Martial, United States. Why is this so significant? Was there an order given for a closed hearing to happen the next day after the GITMO judge had a medical emergency? If there was, what was it? And we're going to show you proof of this. And then part 4, you have more information than you know. What did Julian Assange say prior to POTUS's election? What has President Trump said? What has Q said? Will we not learn from history this time, like repeating Nazi Germany actions, but heading to an even worse fate if we don't wake up and we don't figure this out and we don't start taking significant action? So those are the 4 videos that are going to be coming to you, and this is obviously part 1. So let's go ahead and jump right in and get started into part 1 of the rumor squashing series. Who can you or can't you trust in the news, and when to tread with caution? Now let's obviously go over mainstream media. Some of this I am going to be reading because I want to be certain I stay on point. For the most part, mainstream media is...
It would help if you don't hit your fist on the table.
Oh, sorry. Okay. For the most part... Shut up. Mainstream media purposely is misleading or diverting away from important events that should be covered for public scrutiny. Not all, but most. There are some good reports and opinion pieces. The problem is it isn't comprehensive. Much is missing. Unfortunately, mainstream media has turned into a powerful indoctrination tool meant to turn the public toward a biased liberal point of view and unilaterally owned by liberal investors. Tread with caution. Now, these are things that obviously we all know. This is not news for us. But remember, previously trusted sources are used in this indoctrination process. That is what they have done with everybody and everything. In the past, whether it be universities, teachers, obviously mainstream media, these were very trusted sources for us to be able to move forward with and to believe. And so that tool, for the most part, has been, I would say, thwarted, has been distorted, corrupted, I guess is the best word for it. So even with Fox News, now there are a number of shows on Fox News that are very good, that I enjoy. And it has been looked at recently as, for the most part, a conservative news source. Little red flags. When you start to see obvious liberal biased information coming out just here and there, remember that's how the indoctrination process works. It comes out subtly, just a little bit at a time, over time, almost unnoticeable until it increases a little bit more and increases a little bit more. And because you trust them as being a particular type of source for conservative news in this case, then slowly but surely what's happening? You're being indoctrinated. Well, that's just giving you a heads up about mainstream media. And frankly, in our personal opinions, mainstream media, if they don't change their ways very, very quickly, are on their way out. Everybody sees it. Even the left is starting to see some things, but some people may be too far gone. That's another whole story. Well, let's move on with alternative media. In many cases, alternative media is trustworthy and your best bet for now when it comes for news. But in some cases, alternative media has been inadvertently putting out false information. Most of this isn't done purposely. It is so easy to be fooled now, including those investigating the news to report from alternative media. No matter how cautious they are, Seavine, actually, has also been fooled on occasion. We've been out there, we've been trying very hard to fact check and etc. And still some things get past us that were not very accurate. And that is something that we try extremely hard to avoid. But, stuff like this can happen. But unfortunately, some alternative media, it happens more often than not. We're blazing new trails here, and some outlets are just plain careless because they want to get out there and just get information. Sensationalism. Now, it used to be when news was trustworthy, it wasn't so sensationalized. It was very, very straightforward, exactly giving you facts and etc. on what it was that was being reported. They wanted to restart my computer. No. But when it comes to, I lost my point.
Well, now's a good time to, why don't you share an example of just what's transpired in the last few days as far as some other sources that have used the Seavine name, our name, to get some information out. However, some of that information was skewed.
Mm-hmm. Well, skewed is one way of putting it. There was one gentleman that looped me and a woman with a multiple personality disorder and David Zublik.
No, that's another one.
Oh, I know. There were three of us. The guy looped us all together as really being the same people. Okay. And it's like, okay. And said it's all part of Seavine, and Seavine is saying that they're the source, a way to go. But really, this person with a multiple personality disorder apparently was on Dr. Phil, and she's nuts, and that should show you exactly where your source of information is coming from. And so I was like, what? It was so off the wall, and quite frankly, the guy was slurring his speech, and he probably was drunk. I don't know if you got that impression. That was just the impression that I got.
There was an obvious attempt to make us look bad, grouping us with people who we have no associations with. However, bringing up some stuff that are really out there. Was there another example?
Well, there were multiple examples, but that was the most glaring, obvious. But then there were people that had good intentions, and they were misquoting some things, but they didn't mean to misquote. They just, I don't know if they just didn't take very good notes or whichever. They were trying to get the information out there. Well, stuff like that happens. But the only reason I'm bringing this up is because as alternative media, we're really in the spotlight right now. We're being watched closely. I mean, the fact that they are bringing alternative media in to be able to cover the military tribunals, I mean, this is our chance to get it right. And we're blazing new trails here. We're trying out new things. We obviously want to throw out the old stuff that doesn't work. And
going back to the guy that produced a video and tried to make it appear as though Linda was actually the person with multiple personalities. He tried to discredit us by appearing so incredulous when we mentioned on our first videotape that we had witnessed the tribunals and described who the defendants were. He was just so incredulous, made it appear as though we were just crazy, that there was no tribunals occurring, when in fact, if he did his homework and went to the Department of Defense website, he would have saw that there was an announcement inviting alternative media to cover these tribunals.
And not only that, but there are websites for the Department of Defense that have a lot of information on it. So, this isn't being hidden from the public. You just need to know how to read it and how to find it, and that's why we're here. But to go back to what we were saying before, there were people that were sharing information, and that's good. But we request that you please make certain that our name is mentioned. This is who it is, what we're doing. And for the most part, people did do that. But there were some individuals that made the information their own. And
so what they added is where they went wrong. I mean, they reported on the fact that there was Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and his band of terrorists. However, they also included people like prominent politicians, and our sources we don't have that information, and we have some really good sources, but famous politicians they're not in the queue just yet, so they're going to have to wait, and if they are, they're being held somewhere other than GITMO. So unless this is top secret stuff that nobody's letting out, we have to dismiss that reporting and that information. And, the best sources of information who we have, that anybody can have, is number one, the President of the United States. That's right, POTUS. He'll give you, he tweets every day, and he'll give you information that sometimes it's hidden information that's hidden within the message itself. But then another source that we utilize is Q, or QAnon. We have found him to be a very reliable source of information and news.
Well, and let me mention something here about Q for those of you rolling your eyes right now. We realize that there are a certain number of individuals that question Q. Well, let me tell you something. Leonard spent a great deal of time investigating and researching Q from the very beginning, from everything that he has said to facts that were put out, suggestions on where to look, and etc. And I promise you that if anybody was going to call to task somebody that is a shill, Leonard would be doing it. And so he's all up on it, and I also did my own fair share of research, and I have found Q to be an incredibly reliable source. In fact, I am going to be using some of Q's tactics. I personally think that Q was training us, we the people, how to think for ourselves. And so he or she has never reported the news, has never reported the news. What Q has done has given us crumbs or drops or whatever you want to call it, little pieces of a puzzle that you cannot see what the ultimate puzzle is going to look like until you grab enough of those pieces and begin piecing them together. Every single piece is a question that was asked and that you as an individual had to go out and research to be able to find that little answer. And then you start building up with more and more and more answers. And quite frankly, those that have followed Q have found out what is going on faster and what came about. They knew what was going to happen before it happened because they had researched it, and they knew that it was factual because they actually found every single piece that put the picture together. So yes, we are going to be using Q, and some of it is going to be Q tactics. Now, I understand that we as the public have been spoon-fed, obviously, since we were children, about information, what to do, where to go, how to think, how to act. Everything that we do in our life as a child is necessary when you begin, because it's teaching you how to thrive and move forward in life as an adult. But somehow over time, some of the information that has been taught in some cases are coming from less than credible individuals with real knowledge. And we have been indoctrinated in some things, even those of us that are older, a little bit at a time. And so we're really going to have to, as the human race right now, do some very deep self-examination and ask ourselves how much of us, what we see, what we do, has been planted in our heads as the way it should be. Should it be because somebody tells you something from a credible source when you are an adult that you believe it and or go out and do what you're told without thinking for yourself first on whether or not it is really something that is credible or something that you should do? So even though it's not going to be a whole lot of fun for those of us that now have to grow up and think for ourselves, we're going to be giving you bits and pieces of crumbs, and we're going to make certain that you go out and you fact check it.
Our goal is just like Q. Q's goal when he gives us this information is for us to think critically, to think independently, not to believe any one man or any one source, but to come up with your own conclusions based on your own research. So we're going to present it in that manner, and hopefully y'all will be able to do your own investigations and come up with your own conclusions.
Well, I know you will. And it's just going to have to be a new way that's doing things. We're not going to spoon feed you everything, but we are going to guide you, and we are going to provide proof about what we say. Now, I wanted to bring up a couple of things about the website. What you see posted on the website has been absolutely vetted. It has been fact-checked. It has been researched. So what you see posted on the c-vine.com website is something you can take it to the proverbial bank. The actual Facebook group page, the C-Vine International News Network group page, we have it, as we mentioned earlier, a place to be able to discuss and so on. Now, we've been trying to figure out a way to make it so the people can put out their own posts and their own opinions and etc., with the understanding that this obviously hasn't been vetted yet because it's up for discussion. So I want to bring to your attention, just because you see it on the group page, don't take it as God's truth yet. These are things that are being brought to the forefront to be able to look at, to discern, to discuss, to debate, to toss it out, or to bring forward, or maybe even bring forward and add to it through additional research. Leonard and I have decided that under the announcement section, which is at the top, it looks like you can do multiple articles or posts up there. Only he and I are going to be posting things there that are articles from the website or posts for discussion and debate that we are going to be placing up there. Things that you see below the announcement section is the general public posting like they do on Facebook and having their own conversations and so on. We have a number of administrators and moderators that are helping to keep an eye on everything and keep everything civil, and so far everything's been great, even though things have been growing like leaps and bounds and our poor moderators are getting a little pooped. And so we've got a number of people that are coming on board as new moderators that we're going to be training and going from there to be able to move forward. So people are vetted before being allowed in. Anyone can come in, but we're making certain that there aren't trolls or people that are going to cause problems. And also all posts are reviewed before they're put up there. They may not all be perfect, but we're doing our best. And so we've got a lot of people volunteering their time. Now, I also wanted to let you know that when we go back to Washington, D.C. for the next set of tribunals, we are going to start bringing some of we, the people, with us. We're not going to go ourselves. I mean, the C-Vine isn't just about us. It is about all of us. It is about every single one of us working together to help bring the news out there. So, hey, let's bring some people along. And there is a section where you can view the military tribunals for the public. So I wanted to let you know that, and that is going to be available to you should you want to do that. The main thing is when we go to these tribunals and we go through what we do for filming for you and so on, this is really becoming time consuming for us. I mean, Leonard, has a job, and he took a lot of time off work to go last time to be able to watch these tribunals and volunteered. I mean, he wasn't paid. So we do have a section on our website on c-vine.com where at the top in the taskbar, it has a donation section. Now remember, that C-Vine is actually, it's a foundation. It is in a charitable trust. It is not a business. It is not anything to that degree. It was created for we the people. It's your foundation. And so we request, so when we go to places to be able to report the news, we really need your help, you guys. We can't afford to fund this ourselves. So, we could go ahead and do a GoFundMe page and this type of thing, but we're going to just do it straight to the foundation. It goes directly in there, and the trustees, with transparency, will distribute the money exactly where it needs to be. And you can see everything that happens where nobody is getting rich. As it stands now, there is not a percentage going to anybody. Now that may change in the future if it becomes a full-time job for some people to be able to run it and so on. We've got to live. But in the interim, we aren't even close to that. So we request your assistance to be able to go to these tribunals, to be able to bring the information to you and to cover our overhead expenses, or we're not going to be able to do it. We were very blessed last time. So now, is there...
Some patriots really came through.
Yeah, they did. Wow.
We wouldn't have been able to do it without the generous donations of those patriots that stepped up.
And the last thing I want to bring up to you, I'm beseeching you that because alternative media is being so closely scrutinized and we are blazing trails, we are asking those of you who have your own YouTube shows that have a large following, we suggest that you consider coming on the C-Vine platform. We are not going to take away from your individuality. We are not going to take away from your business. But what we are asking is if you join together as patriots, where we have channels that we can place everyone on, and when you drive people to your particular YouTube video or whatever the case might be, that you're using a combination of your list to drive people to that channel. So this way we can supersede, we can circumvent social media because we all have our own list. And if we're all driving people to one place that have large lists, it'll be like Trump is already, who has a huge following, only we're taking a bunch of individuals with large followings and bringing it together. That is how we're going to be able to circumvent social media. We will still continue to use social media, but we've got to find alternative means to be able to get this out there. Now, they wouldn't be trying to silence us if there wasn't a danger that the light is going to be brought to the darkness. And that's why they're trying so hard to shut us up. So we as patriots, the only way we're going to get through this is not, trying to competition with each other's business. This is coming together and working together to get information out there, which makes me to my last point. And that is, I wanted to thank the people in whether it would be YouTube or whoever, who had taken our information and had distributed it broadly to be able to get it out there. As our following has been increasing a great deal, we are going to be doing the same thing. When we see true news out there, we're going to bring it up on C-Vine. Hey, this person over here or that person over there, praying medic, the individuals that are very trustworthy, we're going to do anything and everything we can to be able to drive people there. So working together in that respect is good. Taking our information and repurposing it with different graphics, as long as we're on there, thank you. This is great, because there hasn't been a whole lot of coverage of these military tribunals, and this is what we've been able to bring to you. So, coming back tomorrow, tune in tomorrow. We've got the points. My computer just shut off. So if you could, stop, go back up. No, back down. Sorry. A little more. Okay, stop. Tune in tomorrow for part 2 in our rumor squashing series. Who made the decision to have the military tribunals covered by alternative media? What military trials are being conducted at GITMO right now? How many total are being incarcerated at GITMO as of this date? Can people be incarcerated at GITMO without being charged? And what is coming? The big question. That's what we're going to cover tomorrow. So we look forward to seeing you soon.
Stay tuned.